Ooh, there I am. All right, you guys ready for a good one tonight? I have a feeling tonight's going to be real good. So how's everybody doing this week? All right, go ahead and get everybody in. Get all that locked and loaded. All right, I think we look good, right? We'll do that instead. I don't like being all... Sound good on your end? Can we roll?
Does now.
You ready?
I'm ready. You ready?
All right. If you guys are in the feed and you guys can hear us and it looks good and it sounds good and we don't have any hiccups for once, if you can like and share for us and let's get it out there. I definitely going to feel some good vibes tonight. So I want to have a good show. We're going to kick it off now. Welcome to the Gaining Fast on Memphis podcast, a place where we connect melodies, memories with fans, artists, and some of the most interesting people in and around the music community. I'm your host, Aaron Schreiber. Tonight, we are presented by our good friends over at Arlo Revolution, cinematic wedding films, music videos, and promos. Find them at arlorevolution.com. And then our on-screen sponsors tonight, Art on a Higher Wire by Joel, original and custom artwork inspired by your life moments, treasured photos and memories. You can find her all over Facebook. And if you haven't checked out her stuff yet, you got to. It's just some phenomenal artwork she's done in the past. And then last but certainly not least, Mr. Corey Oliphant and the original church choir. It's amazing to see their logo up there every week and have their support, because that's where this show all started way back when. If you are looking to jump on as a sponsor for the show, I do have 2 on-screen sponsorships open. You can see your logo on screen today. Go ahead and check out our Patreon. I will share the link in the comments here in a little bit. And that's also the way that you can get to the after show and tons of fun stuff over on Patreon. We do a monthly giveaway, which I'll show that here in a minute. So let's see if my computer works. It is. But yeah, if you guys are, like I said, if you guys are looking for a way to support the show, check out our Patreon. That's what's keeping us growing every week. Just phenomenal things that we keep being able to do over week after week, and special guest. I mean, this week is just, guys, I'm excited for tonight, if you can't tell. So let's see. All right, we got the chat or the link in the chat now if you guys want to check that out. If you do subscribe during the show, please shoot us a message so we make sure we get you in the private Patreon only group for the after show tonight after the show. So if you, like I said, if you guys are looking for ways to support the show, our Patreon is our heart and soul. Tier start at just $1, and our current goal is set at 100 Patreons. We're currently 33 people away from that goal. So also, like I said, we do have room for 2 on-screen sponsors. You can add your logo, have it displayed all the time during these shows for the next couple of weeks coming up. And yeah, and if you can't do Patreon right now, anything you can do, or the best way to support the show is like, share, and subscribe anywhere you can find the show. I just lost a flip-flop.
I wondered what that was.
So yeah, that's what we might have added that noise out.
All right, we'll get that in post.
Yeah, I had my flip-flops on. Boom, it just fell. No, so anything you like I said, if you can't do anything with Patreon, if you can like, share, and subscribe the show anywhere. If you're listening back on Apple Podcasts or anywhere you get your podcasts, we are live on YouTube and Facebook every Tuesday night at 7:00. Come and interact with us, ask the guests questions, and then be able to hear it the next day live, or the audio on every streaming podcast that you could find it. So that's always the fun part. Yeah. All right. All links to the show will be in the notes, all that good stuff. Yeah. Oh yeah, I forgot to show that good picture. Where was that? Our December. Yeah. So speaking of Patreon, we do do a giveaway every month. I am going to start calling it our monthly freebies, just because Patreon doesn't like the word giveaway. Nobody does ever. So if you are interested, we do have a little bit of every month, or a little bit of merch from every guest this month so far. Go ahead, check it out. If you are in our $5 sponsorship on Patreon or up, you will get into this giveaway every month. So Thailand's calling my phone. Should I answer it live on the air?
I would say no.
It'd be like, hey, what do you want, Thailand? All right, guys. So we're going to go ahead and put all that fun stuff, sponsor stuff away. And You guys ready? So I was probably, I don't know, a couple months ago, a little bit past. I heard this song, Got Your Name on It, years ago, but I just never really registered. I really liked it. Just never really, I don't know. I don't know what happened. I don't know why I didn't catch on. But I heard this song. I'm a huge fan of, on Apple Music, they have Country Risers playlist. And that's where I find a lot of my guests for the show, or kind of do my research for the show. And I heard the song Whiskey Tonight Come On. And I was like, holy crap. Who is this guy? What is this song? Started digging in. I'm like, oh, that's Got Your Name. Okay. I put 2 and 2 together, but then I started digging more. And I've heard just amazing stuff from this guy. And I'm excited because I'm hooked. I'm definitely hooked on his music, his songwriting, his performing, his voice. Everything about this guy just got me solid, or just got me hooked. So I don't want to bring him on, hear his journey, and get to talk with him a little bit. Let's bring on Jade. There we are. How you doing, buddy?
Good, my man. How are you doing?
Oh, man, I'm great. Everybody, welcome Jade Eagleson to the show. Excited to have you tonight, dude.
I'm really excited to be on here, man. I've been looking forward to it.
Hell yeah, dude. I appreciate you answering my messages right off the bat, and we getting this hooked up. So tell everybody where you're from, where you're coming to us live from tonight.
I'm in Calgary right now, but I grew up in a small town in Ontario called Millbrook. I mean, it's just a small farm, and that's kind of where I came, and then all over the place after that.
So when you say farm in Canada, is it a lot like just the farm towns here? I mean, 'cause I know it's a little colder up there at times. I have family up there, and I had a shirt one time. I said, "There is life up here with arrows pointing up." She gave me. I saved it for the longest time. But so is your farming community is a lot like what you'd find out here?
I'm sure it is. It's more kind of like we don't have like the horses or like the ranch. It's not like Texas by any means, but it's it's still such a small community. Everybody knows each other, and everyone's like family, right? So there's definitely that aspect of it all that I think is very similar to being in the States, which every time I visit, I pick up on that right away. Everyone's just really, really family oriented, and it's pretty nice to see.
Don't come to Chicago. So, no, man. So it's really cool because you come from a musical background. Your grandfather was really into music and stuff. Tell me just a little bit about that real quick.
Yeah, both my grandpa, and my mom. So on both sides of my family, we're very driven by music. My mom kind of took, she's very creative, writes books and sings and all that stuff. And she kind of took that into teaching, and she's a teacher now. And then my grandfather, he was always just kind of the guy that you'd go and pick up a guitar at the end of a long day and strum some chords. And it'd be, anything from Hank Snow to Hank Williams Sr. and, all the really old tunes like Little Jimmy Dickens, all that stuff. I grew up listening to, and I'm thankful I did.
I love that you said Little Jimmy, dude, because you don't hear that name much anymore at all.
I know. It's sad, but it's he's such a great artist, man. I really thoroughly enjoy him.
One of the coolest things ever, one of my first trips ever to Nashville, dude, we got this Gray Line bus tour that takes you to the Stars homes. We just want to see it all. And we go by, and there's little Jimmy on his riding lawnmower just out there cutting his lawn, dude. And he gets off that lawnmower and walks over to the little bus and starts talking to us. And the coolest guy ever, man. I was like, this is legit. This is little Jimmy Dickens just coming hanging out with everybody.
Oh, he's amazing, man. He's very well respected in the music community, and it's Grand Ole Opry and all that stuff. He's a huge part of everything.
Do you think we're losing a touch of that at all in the music genre or country genre today? A lot of when I say like that, I know like it changes and we need to evolve with the times. Definitely, I agree with that. But we're losing a lot of the old school like Jimmy Dickens type like comedy style country where you could go to the Opry on a Saturday night and have a good time. Do you think we have that? I know like maybe Brad Paisley was a little bit like that, a little bit with comedy, but I don't know. What do you think?
I totally agree. I think that like Carrie and Brad come and bring that element to this any CMA awards or anything like that. But beyond that, there's not hee haw or anything like that. Like all that stuff kind of a relic of the past, and it's sad. But unfortunately, moving forward into a different. I mean, it's still country, and I still appreciate a lot of the music that comes out, and I enjoy listening to it. But there's still just like. I think there's guys like Eric Church and Luke Combs, and they're still kind of in that mold. But the more we kind of astray from that, the more country music loses its family values, I think.
Oh yeah, for sure, dude. I definitely agree. And cause I was talking with Ellie Sheen last week. I'm like, I remember when country used to be sad, and I mean, now when you hear sad country, it's not really that sad anymore. It's kind of more, hey, have a beer and you'll be happy.
Yeah. But, have a beer when you're sad back in the day, but
exactly. So when you kind of grew up a little bit, you got maybe, let's say, I always ask the artist, you get to like your high school age, you kind of rebel, get your parents or whatever. Did you kind of go off the trail at all and start listening to anything different? Or did you kind of stay to your roots?
The only crazy thing I really did was listen to like hair metal, and I still listen to like Van Halen, Def Leppard, all those guys. So I think that's the farthest. I mean, I really immerse myself in all kinds of music and always have, but I think I'm really fundamentally rooted in country and always have been.
That's awesome, man. You could tell it in your voice, dude. Just deep down in your voice, you could hear. God, dude, honestly, I could listen to you all day lately. Because honestly, when I first heard Whiskey Tonight, I did not put it with "Got Your Name on It." I did not put the two singers together at first, and I'm like, okay. And I went back and kind of dug into it. I was like, damn, this is the same guy. All right, this guy's really good. But so Whiskey Tonight, I did ask you earlier. We're gonna hear it in a little bit. Like if you go to YouTube and everything, you don't really see it too much out there. To me, here in the States, it's I feel that's your bigger song. When I look at it or hear it, I think everybody knows you Whiskey Tonight. But when you go to Canada, it's got your name on it. You got 43 million streams on your YouTube just on that one song. Is that kind of like your thing in Canada? Like when you go and play a show, that's the number one song that everybody is just there to hear?
I mean, it was, and then we really got lucky with a song called "Lucky."
Yeah,
Using the word a lot there, but you know, we're really blessed to have that one go number one, and that kind of replaced "Got Your Name on It." But you know, initially that was the thing. It was kind of the you know, what we played at the end of every show, and everyone knew the words.
Yeah.
I mean, there's maybe one experience where I had the mic, and you know how some artists like put the mic out into. I remember doing that, and nobody knew what the song was. It was the worst experience. So ever since after that moment, I was nervous to do it again. But you know, Canadian radio has been amazing to me, and it's such a small market. Like,
Yeah.
And I'd say like 40, I think it's 40% or 45% of Canadians have to be played on the radio. But when you look at that margin, it's not a very big margin. So it's very. I mean, we're all a family at the end of the day down here, but it's a very competitive like kind of thing to get into. So when you do have songs flying up the charts, it's really humbling, and it feels really great. And you know, Canadian country music fans really stand behind anything that's on the radio. So it moves fast, and I think "Got Your Name on It" was one of those songs for me. It was
yeah.
the longest time.
Which is awesome. Now, so like everybody, like we hear of like Red Dirt out Texas, and like bands like Randy Rogers and everybody, they're huge on Texas. Like you go in Texas, you can't even get a ticket for them, but they come to Chicago and they can barely sell out a bar. Is that the same way? Kind of, have you had that same feeling like in Canada? Are you like I've seen some of your videos, you're just packing the house. If you come over here, is it a little different vibe for you in the States lately?
I'd say 100%. I've had some incredible support from some folks down in Nashville, like the Whiskey Jam guys,
Like
all
Gordon, those guys.
Yeah, like they've been just incredible to me, and a bunch of others too. You know, I've anyone that's worked on everything we do and releases worked on down in Nashville, and my producers like Todd Clark, and my writers Gavin Slate, Travis Wood, Griffin Palmer, a lot of those guys. I mean, I'm definitely missing a few, but you know, they're all Daryl Scott, Jesse Slack. Yeah, those are the other two, I think. But you know. They've been such a huge support, and it's crazy because a lot of Canadians move down to Nashville. Like everything, that is the hub for everything, and everyone works down there, sends it back. But I guess to answer your question, it's extremely difficult to like bring what you have in Canada to the States. I think because it's great, you build up your get your reps in, I guess, like get on stage, like get your live performance down, know how to work with in-ears, all that fun jazz, radio interviews, etc. But you know, down in the States, it's a different beast. I mean, Canada is the size of California as far as population goes, so it's a big market. I guess it's kind of like Texas, but you know, less country, I suppose.
So speaking a little bit about Got Your Name on It, going over to the music video, 60 or 43 million views or streams is this amazing. 85 million overall global streams is what you're working on with 3 singles. Where do you think like just the niche of that song was? Do you think it was the music video, or what do you think got those? What do you think got everybody with that thing?
I mean, like I think it was a combination of a little bit of both. It was my first like professional, well, not first professional, right? But it was one of the first ones where we went in there, and I think I remember Travis Wood came in and he had this idea, had the chord pattern all worked out, and we wrote it. And it's crazy when you write something, you wait like a year before you record it, and then you wait even longer after that to release it. And then I got really blessed to shoot the video on my farm. So like right from the get-go, there was a really family feel to making this video, and it was so lighthearted. And I think some people felt that when they watched the video.
Oh, like just me watching it. Here's a good picture I want to bring up. So you guys did this on your grandfather's farm, right?
Yes, yeah, and that's actually where that picture was taken right there.
Okay. And so a lot of things changed here. So I'm sure growing up on the farm with your parents, everything, but this video coming out, I mean, did you know coming out, like, well, of course you didn't know you're gonna have 43 million, but you probably didn't know you're gonna come out leaving knowing your wife, having all this stuff. Your parents were in your music video. I mean, so how much do you think that one video just changed a lot of your projection and a lot where you're headed to?
I mean, it changed everything for me. I mean, the director came in and he had this idea, and I remember he's running it by like my management and stuff, and they're all very like smart at what they do, but this one was just like, for a minute we're kind of like, oh, this is, I don't know about this. This is my debut song, and it was we wanted more FaceTime for me, but thank God that we didn't do that, because the way it turned out was great. But you know, it was definitely launched me in a huge way, almost to a point where I wasn't ready for everything coming down the line.
Yeah, it was amazing just to see it, because I know I asked you earlier, but I love that how you have a little bit of lightheartedness. You got the young Jade in there with, again, the tattoo, and you threw your dad in there as the tattoo artist. And I'm sure that's not the first time your mom has pulled you out of situations like that in the past.
Yeah, no, for sure.
So
really, when I was younger, I was a renegade, but
we all were at some point. But so it definitely was fun. But yeah, definitely meeting your wife too, and then starting it off. Now, what? In a few other videos, you brought her back. So now you're going to kind of keep a theme and just kind of bring her back in all the videos, or how you feeling so far?
I mean, she's a lot cheaper than after the first one, so we decided to. I'm joking, but no, it's just easy because I'm a terrible actor. Like, there's a few videos out there that we just couldn't do because I'm brutal at it. I'm sure you saw it. I can count the ways. Like, I really did my best, but we spent, I think, the better part of the day just shooting the opening scene because
how long did it take to shoot the bathroom scene?
That one was actually relatively quick. I remember Ben telling me this idea, and I was just like, "Oh Lord, man!" Like, all right, but I always listen to him because he's always right. But
Dude, it fit perfect. I think it's awesome. It's just because it's perfect. How many times have you, JC? I know you haven't seen the video. Walked into a bathroom, you're standing at a urinal, still humming a song in your head, or still like singing out loud.
Yeah, I can't say I've never done that, to be honest with you.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Or maybe it's just me then.
I kind of focus on other things when I'm at a urinal. Sorry.
So that's why I focus on music. Get my head off it. No.
So that one took a while because I could not stop laughing. Like, Dave was there. He's also like he gets on and he has a huge hand in making the video happen as well. So it's cool to have him a part of the actual video. But
yeah, definitely.
I couldn't stop laughing, man. He was so serious when he looked over at me, and I was just giggling.
I'm sure when it comes down to stuff like that, it's just so hard to keep a straight face for the video. I mean, you're like, all right, 3 seconds. I got 3 seconds to keep a straight face. I can do this, and then no.
Exactly. No, it was like, I don't even know how many times we redid that. Like, it went quickly, but I think I laughed like as much as I could laugh, and that was it. Like,
that is awesome. So, this one more thing. Let's see, where was I'm gonna skip that. We already talked about that. I was gonna say, I heard you did once an interview with your wife, and you were talking about how you got engaged multiple times. So we'll talk about that for a minute. Go ahead and mention that, like how you did, because you got engaged in a music video, and then talk about your engagement. I always like those stories.
Like the first time it was kind of like, I don't know, we're driving back from somewhere, and like she's just like, we should get married, and I was like, yeah, sure. I was like, will you marry me? And then I didn't have a ring or anything. It was really like, I just screwed up hard on that. But we announced ourselves as engaged, and then I talked to my manager. I was actually on tour when this all came together, and I said to my manager Shan, and I was like, I really need your help. Like, I need to get a ring. I have this planned. Like, once we get the ring, then I'm gonna ask her in a couple weeks from that moment. And he's great because he went out and spent a lot of time like making sure that you got the right ring and like set up the moment. And I remember we snuck out and got the ring and all that stuff, and it was it burns a hole in your pocket. Like, I know that's a saying, but it's legit. It's so legitimate and true that like,
I crushed my wife's foot.
I remember, man, like I got into the house and I had the ring in my pocket, and She went down. I think she went down to make a sandwich or something. She's a sweetheart. She's always feeding me, as you can tell. But, yeah, she gets upstairs and she's closing the door or whatever, and she has the sandwich in her hand and it's a wrap. And I was like, can you put that down for a second? And she's like, no, if I put it down, then it's gonna unfold and be a mess or whatever. And we argued about this for like 5 minutes, and then finally she puts it down, and she's not in a great mood. But I have my camera like filming it the whole time, and I'm just glad that it had enough space. But I got down on one knee, asked her, and it was just like I was gonna post it, but it was just such a disaster that I never ended up doing it. But at least we have the video that looks like a nice proposal. That one wasn't the real one. The real one was pretty bad on my part.
Oh, dude, I'm glad we didn't have video of mine, because like I went to some church in West Virginia, and I had this plan, and then when we got there, every door was locked. Because my parents got married at this church, my grandparents got married at this church. So I knew I wasn't gonna be able to get married there, but I wanted to propose there.
Yeah.
And so like every door was locked. I was like, my plan fell through. And then I told my wife now, but told her, I'm like, go check this last door. Is up these stairs. I knew it was going to be locked, but it's funny. It's the door that my parents have a picture of coming out and all the rice is being thrown or whatever. So it's like the big picture in the family too. So she ran up there and I ran behind her, and the minute she turned around, I flopped down on one knee. And when I say I flopped. And my knee went right on top of her foot. And I was surprised I didn't break a toe or two. I think she just kind of like saw what was happening and kind of forgot about the pain for a quick second. But then before she ever said yes, she goes, ow, my foot. So it was always fun. We're going to actually have you play a couple songs on the after show. But before we break those down on the after show, I want to talk about 2 songs real quick. One that you wrote and one that you didn't. The first one that you didn't, Boomtown. It's a Chris Stapleton song. If you guys have not heard this at all, definitely go. And I want you, the first time you heard this song, go on YouTube and look up for the Woodbine sessions of Boomtown. I was talking to Jade earlier. It's like the most haunting video I've seen, especially because it screams 2020. It's at well, go ahead. You can set it up, man. But it's the 161st running of the Queen's Plate was supposed to be the same day you filmed this.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was, and obviously it was a sad sight to see because no one was there, and it was empty stalls. But that's a huge deal in Canada. The Queen's Plate is so. Yeah. It's definitely an eerie feeling just being on the grounds, and the tracks there's still people working there, but like once in a long while you'll see a tractor drive by or whatever, just like running the track, but there's no horses, there's no animals. It's just like is a ghost town. So
yeah,
I think my director's vision to kind of like everything he did in that video was great, and partnering with Woodbine and doing that was really a blessing, and it really brought this song just kind of put it in another gear that I was really lucky to have happen.
Yeah, dude, it was just amazing. When I first came across it, it was kind of funny because I was listening to it and I had it on just in the background. I was like, holy crap. My arm hairs were just standing straight up. I was like, I gotta go, what song is this? I'm over looking. I got a little deeper in that. But it was just crazy, dude. There's another song. Like I was talking about your voice earlier. Ain't My Fault by Brothers Osborne. So my wife and I were sitting at the table yesterday. I'm doing some research, and I'm listening. And I swear to God, I'm listening to a Brothers Osborne song, dude. Like this is like YouTube, Brothers Osborne's playing. But since I was playing your songs, it was a cover you did. I was like, holy shit, this guy is nailing this song. So another props to you on that, because that's just some good stuff over on your YouTube. I was looking for another photo. I can't find it, but oh well. So one other song I want to bring up that I'm going to get you to play over on the after show. I cannot wait. Hacking Darts. So when you first hear this song, you're thinking of a guy probably in a bar throwing some darts. I don't know, whatever. That's what you're doing. I mean, you just broke up with your girl, you're throwing darts. No. If you're from Ontario, Canada, it means something completely different. Now, is this like an Ontario thing, or is this all of Canada?
It's 100% all of Canada. Canada? Especially rural. Even like the older folks are in on the joke, I think, too. Like, you can say it to anybody and they'll know what you're saying.
I'm going to still say that to my aunt. My aunt and uncle live right outside of Barrie. So I'm going to still say it to my aunt sometimes, see what she says. But hacking darts is just smoking cigarettes, correct?
Yeah, exactly. It's, I don't even know where it came from at all. There's absolutely like no origin story that I can think of.
I would just think like when you go to put it out, you're grabbing out, you're just throwing it down, like hacking the dart down or something. I don't know.
Yeah, it's like hacking. I guess I don't know. It doesn't even make like grammatical sense. There's no like. It's just what we call. I
You
guess.
made a song out of it, which is awesome, dude.
I mean, it's funny because it's like basically it means you're chain smoking, like you're hack, like
Okay.
you're hacking through it, So.
Oh, I see what I'm saying. You're coughing after. Okay, I see that.
And dart, I don't know. Maybe dart is because cigarettes are dangerous. And then
Yeah.
darts are
They're
dangerous.
they're dart
Maybe.
shaped. I don't know.
I don't know.
So we'll move on about that. We'll talk a little bit more about that song in the after show if you guys are tuning in. A couple other things I want to talk about before we move on and kind of focus on a couple other little things. You did a couple achievements you've had over your time. One being Boots and Hearts. Go ahead and tell us a little bit about Boots and Hearts, what it is and what happened around it.
It's like basically it's a competition, and then from there, if you win it, you get like a singles deal with a record label. And we went into this competition, and like I had some really great friends from a little town called Bob Cajun that we all got together, and we kind of felt like the underdogs a little bit. We're just a bunch of country boys hitting the stage, and we pulled it off. And then from that, I was able to release "Got Your Name on It," and the rest is kind of history. But it was probably one of the most fun times I've ever had in my life. And it was kind of like that last little bit where I had to kind of, because like we're there, we're really focused on the competition, but after it's like partying and having a lot of fun. And that was kind of like my see you later to that kind of life, and is stepped over into the professional life. And it was I always remember the moment going down and doing Boots and Hearts. It was such a crazy large crowd, and
they still have this every year, right?
Yeah, they do. I mean, unfortunately it had to be postponed till I think next year, but I got to go play there again the year after. I think any winner that the year before goes and plays on like one of the side stages. But people show up, man. Boots and Hearts is huge. There's a lot of little like Canadian festivals that are just second to none. They're incredible. So that one is definitely one of them. And I owe them big for like having a guy like me on their competition roster, and it was made a lot of great friends from that experience too. So it was amazing.
It was the emerging I can't speak artist showcase is that you're on. Was there anybody? Of course, you're up against anybody. Who was do you remember your biggest competition that you had, or the one person that made you kind of nervous? Like, damn, I don't know if I could get this.
I do. I wouldn't say that like competition, because everyone's like they want to build each other up and stuff. But I'd say the Red Hill Valleys, and you have to check them out. Like as soon as you check them out, like even any song, there's none really in particular. You can listen and you'll be like, these guys are badass. Like they are legitimately one of my favorite bands, and they're from Canada, and they're just really, really good folks too. So check the Red Hill Valleys, and they're really awesome.
Write them down. Check that out, man, because you always remember that one other band. So then we move on a couple years. Well, this last year, a couple years after Boots and Hearts, CCMAs, which is kind of like our version of the CMAs up in Canada. You got nominated for the Rising Star Award. Tell me about it, man. What did you think? Hey, I have a shot, or what was going through your head with all this?
That one was really crazy because that I've never been to the CCMAs. I mean, I've been there as like a guest and kind of sat in the chair or whatever. My first couple years kind of being signed and a part of the industry, but to think I was going to be up for award, that was terrifying. And we performed there too that day, and holy liftings, it's like something that nobody's ready for. I almost screwed up my song on stage, everything else. And then getting to the award part, I never expected my name to be called. Like I was just really humbled and thankful that I was a part of that group, because there's really a ton of talented artists that were in that lineup that I'm really great friends with. So it was definitely like this huge moment for me when I got up there. Yeah, That's such an old picture too. I think we didn't send in the right picture too, because I've obviously grown a little bit of a
Yeah.
party in the back.
Bring the mullet back, right?
Yeah.
Billy Ray Cyrus used to have a song called "I Want My Mullet Back." There's a good song for you.
Oh no, that is a good tune.
I love it, dude. I used to be a closet Billy Ray fan back in the day. I was huge. So this year, things have definitely changed overall for this year. For being an artist or anybody just really in the industry, did you? I mean, of course, you didn't plan this happening, but what kind of impact have you had, or has COVID had on you? Especially closing the borders. I know you can't really come down and play many shows, but for you, what's happened this
I
year?
mean, it's sucked in a lot of ways and been good. You know, it's a kind of a catch-22. It's been a bit of both for me and my family and a lot of other artists, I'm sure too. I mean, on the negative side of things, like we were planning to move to Nashville this year after all the summer shows and stuff, and we just didn't make that extra coin to be able to do that.
Yeah.
And you know, on top of that, we want to be kind of safe, close to family, and you know, we're really blessed. We have a roof over our head and a lot of amazing folks that have helped us, you know, kind of get along. I mean, but on a positive side, man, like I've got to spend time with my little one and my wife that I otherwise would never have gotten to have. So it's kind of a blessing in disguise. And I'm still able to get on here and do things like this and play my guitar and, you know, dial into things that, you know, I'm passionate about, but just haven't had a lot of time for. So it's, you know, a bit of both worlds, but I am very excited to get down to the States, and I'm really excited to start playing shows down there, man. I can't even elaborate on that.
So tell me about being a dad. How old is your son?
He's 1 and 2 months, I think now. He's let's see, how many? November, December. Yeah, he's 1 and 1 month, I guess.
I got 2. I got one that's gonna be 4 and a 6-year-old going on like 20. So
yeah, it's so fast, man. Like I remember, like he's crawling or whatever, and I remember like kind of being excited for him to walk. And now I'm like looking back, just seeing him get into everything is like insane. It's like let's rewind it a little bit, but he's also like he's like a steroidally strong child. Like cupboard blocks, like he just rips them off, and like I try it. I'm like, this is difficult. Like, how are you doing this? But he rips them off. He wants to get in and get a snack, then he knows what to do.
I'm telling you, man, every day I believe that movie Boss Baby is more and more true.
Yeah, but I got it.
Oh man, it's wild. But yeah, so having kids is definitely a life changer, and especially, I mean, I've talked to other artists and everything. It's been great that you've been home this past year and, you know, with your son. So before being an artist and before you had your son, what was your biggest fear? Knowing that, okay, I'm gonna have a baby now and I'm still want to focus on my career. Did you have anything that kind of scared you for a little bit?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I have one of the best wives in the world. I mean, every husband will say that about their significant other, but for me, like, she's honestly really supportive. And, you know, I was obviously scared because I didn't want to like have any, like, I didn't want to come back from being on the road for a bit and then, you know, see my kid and my kid just be like, who the hell are you? You know, like that was always like running through the back of my mind. But, you know, prior to COVID striking, we were able to go to Japan and do some stuff like that and came back, and really there's not a crazy difference. Things just pick up where you left them off. And I was definitely insecure going into it, but now that I'm in the midst of it all and in the fire, it feels really good. I think more importantly, as long as you have a schedule and you're following and you're, you know, making work out of it, and, you know, remembering to keep your family first, that you never really run into problems.
Yeah, it's definitely the way I see it now. When you get on tour, are you gonna bring them with, you think, or have you guys had that talk yet? Like,
We
hey,
totally have. Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, in the perfect world, I'd be able to afford like a big fancy bus and be able to get everyone on. But I don't know, like not at this stage, but I think definitely in the future, that would be amazing. I mean, there's nothing I love more than my family, so that would be really great.
Could see Eric Church point where you just get a private plane, fly out for 2 days, fly in with you, fly back in. This guy got it made, man. It's like, hey, work on the weekends and move on.
That'd be pretty awesome.
With COVID though, we kind of talked a little bit about how it's changed. You got to play a drive-in concert this year. How was that? Was it different for you? Did you like it? What was the feel for you on that?
It was a really awesome to get back on stage because it'd been so long that since we were able to do that. And I remember getting on stage for the first drive-in show I ever did, and I couldn't hear. There's no wedges. There's no like you play a chord and there's nothing because basically it's transmitted to the radios in the cars, right? So it was everything was done off the in-ears or whatever, and that was great. But it, it definitely threw me for a major loop. It's crazy too because you'll hear like anyone that's plugged like directly in, you're not going to hear that guy, and it's just like very very strange. So it kind of sounded like a really crappy garage band if you didn't have a stereo on.
Yeah. I went to one. Luckily it was acoustic, and it was a little different feel. But I can imagine being full band and not having any wedges or anything like that.
Oh man, it was something else. But I had a great mixer on board, and we really were able to kind of get the show to the level we needed to have it at to sound good. And he did a great job. But I think a lot of the mistake a lot of people made was they drove in, and it was well advertised that they had to turn on the radios, but if you're like me, like obviously we'll get into the ADHD stuff later on, but sometimes you don't pick up on those cues, and people didn't turn on the radios, and so I got a couple messages saying like your sound was terrible, and I'm like, come on, you just had to turn on the radio.
You got a stereo, man. No.
You don't go back to Ontario.
I got lucky. I knew the promoter for the concert we went to, and he tipped me off. He goes, if you have a portable like boombox or portable stereo that hooks up to AM/FM frequency, bring it. And luckily, my brother-in-law had this really nice one, and just huge. I actually had like 20 people kind of hovering around us trying to listen. It was so good of a speaker and everything. But yeah, you said we'll get into it, but I kind of want to get into that now. I've listened to a few of your interviews, and that's one thing I kind of do to prep myself for what did I just do? I'm sorry. I need glasses, and they're coming soon. I keep on hitting something. I don't know what I keep doing. There we go. They're coming in like a day or two. But I've heard you mention and kind of mention that you have ADHD real bad, and I do too. Probably one of the worst things with me is I squirrel. I'm off subject, and I do it a lot with the show and everything else. For you as an artist, does it affect you or help you in any way? Coming from like kind of the ADHD, ADD side of things. I know just for me, it kind of screw with me at times.
It totally does. Like, I mean, there's a lot of positives and there's a lot of negatives. Like, I'm sure it's for me, like when I'm working on something I'm actually like interested in, like I'm all over it, and I spend hours and hours and hours on it, and I'm very like, especially with music, it's like you're very attentive to detail. So like you'll hear like a guitar part, and like in your head you're like, it'd sound really cool if there's this bass line here or this drum loop here, and you stick it all together. But things I'm really bad at is like keeping a schedule and making, because I'm very unorganized. Like if I have too much structure in my life, then I go crazy. Like I need something to be different and energizing all at the same time. So
yes, I'm the same way.
yeah, so for music it's great. I mean, for me though, like I'll be on stage, and this has happened a couple of times where I'll be playing and stuff, and then I'll look off at something and just completely miss a verse or a chorus, and like everyone in the crowd's like, what are you doing? Like, this is your song, like you should know this.
You're supposed to be singing.
It's brutal.
I do a lot. Just like I have a lot of to-do lists, like a lot of notebooks. So I always constantly writing to-do lists and trying to follow those and try to give them like time limits and stuff like that. That's one thing I try to stay organized. But like I've talked to a few guys that are songwriters too, and I'm just like, I could see just like when it comes to songwriting, because you'd have this really good idea. You're thinking about, I'm gonna go put it down. The minute that pen hits that paper, it's gone, and it doesn't come back. And sometimes you tell people that, and like I'll have little post-it notes or just notes in my phone. I'm always writing stuff down because I know if I have a good idea, I need to put it on paper or something. Because if I don't, I'm gonna forget it. Is this the same way for you?
Oh, 100%, man. Like I've had hook ideas, and then like if I either completely forget it or like later down the road, I only get like little figments of the idea, like not the full idea. So if I have an idea, I have to write it down right away. And then even like putting it to paper, like I know in my head where the idea is, but when you're writing, everything kind of gets scrambled and you end up on something completely different. So it's good to have co-writers. Let me tell you.
So before we go into our hot seat section, our last question of the night, I want to ask you: do you have any Christmas traditions? Since it is almost Christmas, anything that you got from your mom or dad, or anything you carry on now that you're a dad, or now you have a family?
I mean, my mom and dad are very like different, so it's very different on each household when they separated. But I remember when we're together, my dad's kind of more like me. Like I love Christmas and the Christmas spirit and stuff, but like Christmas music from 9 to 5 is just too much for me. So my mom is the opposite. Like she was just visiting actually a couple of weeks ago, and I don't even know if it was December yet. Like, and it was just Christmas movies every day, and I'm like, oh man, like my wife was right in on it too, and it's like all the Hallmark Christmas movies. So they're the same plot. I was like, I know that what's gonna happen here. Like we all do, but it was it was definitely nice to have her and kind of bring some of that back. But at the end of the day, like down here, I have my basement. And my wife has the whole upstairs decorated and done up. So kind of come here to retreat if it's too much for me.
I agree. We got a little bit upstairs. I'm like, I should get a little tree just having the background for the show. I was like, no. I think I was having a really good day where I felt a little extra joy or a little extra Merry Christmas in me or something. I don't know.
My mom-in-law brought over a nice tree. So we have that all up and there's lights and stuff. So we're good. We're good to go. And this is what always happens. And I know this is kind of our first big Christmas year, but I already know I got to get stuck with cleanup. So the longer you look at all the stuff your wife is doing, you're kind of like, I gotta have to tear that down. This is gonna suck. So
I really clean all this up. So when I was pulling all these pictures for this episode tonight, dude, I had to bring this up. My co-producer's laughing now too. If they ever make a movie, well, have you ever been told you have a doppelganger?
Oh my word! Are you guys say?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
I was like, man, this guy, if Brendan Fraser ever has a movie about him, he has to play Brendan Fraser, dude.
I do. I'm a terrible actor, but I've heard it enough times that it's.
I was like, dude, this guy is like Brendan Fraser now.
It's great. Like that's the only time I ever get tweeted is this guy looks like Brendan Fraser. I'm like, all right, like I know, I get it, but it's definitely funny because he's actually part Canadian too, so it's kind of cool.
If there's any social media that would ever disappear, I wish it'd be Twitter. Not Twitter. I can do everything but Twitter. So,
I'm not great at it.
Yeah. So every week I do this thing. It's 9 questions that we're gonna ask. I play a little bit of music in the background. We see how fast we can get through these. Kind of like a rapid fire question. So if you're doing a Crossroads episode with another artist, who would it be?
Randy Travis.
All right. I would say first cassette tape you ever owned, but your first CD you ever owned.
Oh, a cassette, George Strait.
Oh, you did have a. All right. What's your hometown famous for?
Butter tarts.
Oh, one song you wish you wrote.
Too Much Fun, Daryl Singletary.
Hell yeah. What was your first job? Your first paying gig? Your first paying job?
Building farm fence.
Ooh, favorite vehicle you ever owned?
The one I got now. It's a 2017 F-150.
Hell yeah. Favorite Halloween costume you ever wore?
Oh boy. I think Scream or whatever his name is.
All right. Ghostface. Favorite getaway location? If you're off tour, you're going to just get away somewhere, take the wife and kid. Where are you going?
The mountains.
Hell yeah, dude. And then an item that's on your bucket list, something you want to achieve, a venue you want to play.
Be a part of the Grand Ole Opry.
Hell yeah, dude. That's a good goal to have because I can actually see you'd be a perfect fit for that, man. Your voice, your style, your image, everything about you. Just talking to you tonight, man. It's just been awesome. You're just one of those down home guys with a big heart that deserves and will get a lot of good things coming to you because when the minute this opens up and you could go wild, you picture, especially with the hat and everything. I had this image in my head yesterday of a PBR event. You know how the bulls in the cage just revved up and they're right before they open the doors? That's how I feel like this guy is. He's just in that little stall. It's like you're kicking those feet up. You're ready for that door to open up. You're just ready to take off and go, man. So this is just talking to you tonight. I just feel that about you. But so before we close out, we got 2 songs. The first one got your name on it. We talked a little bit about it, but go ahead and set us up. When you wrote this song, tell me about kind of what came to mind at first.
I mean, we all kind of we're in there and we're just like, what are things that like, are kind of material, but you don't need, like you'd throw away for love. And everyone just kind of was whipping out ideas, and we kind of came up with it, and it really flowed. Like the song flowed really quickly, and it came so naturally to everybody that I just remember it being a really fun write, like from start to finish.
Oh man. Well, I'm gonna give you the floor, man. I can't wait to hear it. Here's
Well,
your name on it.
All right, here we go. I got to put the capo on, and hopefully it stays in tune. All right. There's a spot in my driveway where you can park your car. A known place off the highway where there's a sky full of stars, and it ain't far. Got a bottle of red wine, just waiting for the right night, the right girl, the right time. Sounds good, don't it? Well, it's got your name on it, if you want it. Every day I got left, every dollar in my pocket, that shotgun side of my F-150. Girl, no, I want you in it, every minute. Got a front porch seat for you, girl, if you can swing it. My start, my hand, my heart, my hand. You can have it right now if you want it. It's got your name on it. Got a little space on the right side, this king-size bed. And there's 3 little words I ain't never said yet. Spell it out in a tattoo on my arm just for you, right there in plain view, so the whole world knows it. Well, it's got your name on it, if you want it. Every day I got left, every dollar in my pocket, that shotgun side of my F-150. Girl, you know I want you in it, every minute. Got a front porch seat for you, girl, if you can swing it. My start, my hand, my heart, my hand. You can have it right now if you want it. It's got your name on it. It's got your name on it. My sun up, sundown, my forever, my right now. If you like how that sounds, you might as well own it. Well, it's got your name on it, if you want it. Every day I got left, every dollar in my pocket, that shotgun side of my F-150. Girl, you know I want you in it, every minute. Got a front porch seat for you, girl, if you can swing it. My start, my hand, my heart, my hand. You can have it right now if you want it. It's got your name on 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 it. Got your name on it.
Damn, dude, that's God. I love that one, dude.
Thanks so much.
The flow, the lyrics, everything about it, man. Like I said earlier when I was talking on the phone, I'm like, you can't write a bad song. And I mean, I don't care what you say, you just can't write a bad song.
There's been days, man. Trust me. There's definitely
I'm
been
sure,
days.
but you can always flip it around, probably. And I don't know. There's always those ones, but dude. I just love it. Love hearing, like, even like I said when I was talking to you earlier, and we could talk a little bit more about Boomtown on the after show, but just hearing you, then going back and hearing Stapleton and the twos, like that song was meant for you, like the way you put it, and just everything about that song, dude. I'm hooked still on that. How haunting that one is. That video is, dude. Just gotta love it so much.
Oh,
We're gonna close the show out tonight. We'll be back after this and talk a few minutes before we close out. But with Whiskey Tonight, this is the one that really got me hooked at first when I first heard it, because the lyrics is another one that this flows. You paint a picture with this song. You can put me in that song, and that's what I want from an artist. I want to feel that song. I want to relate to it, and it's a song that I can definitely relate to. But for you, where did it come from?
I mean, I was at my buddy Griffin Palmer's house, and he's coming up pretty quick. He was on Songland and won the entire show, and he's just a really talented guy. And we put this one together, and I think it was like an hour or two. Like, it was super quick, and it was just so easy and natural, and it just kind of flowed out of the both of us. It was just a no-brainer when it came to choosing songs for the record, which is kind of cool because the record is we kind of dive into the country genre, but different parts of it all across the record. And this one kind of filled the gap for that more like traditional sound. I mean, we have it's a traditional song with modern sounds, I guess you can say.
Yeah, well, I would say like a Keith Whitley kind of feel to it in a way. Like, I really like
a huge compliment.
Yeah, man, I like that's what I mean. I'm a huge Keith Whitley guy, and I mean, definitely, dude, I love this song though. I mean, everybody, if you guys not heard this song yet, you're gonna hear what I'm talking about here in a second. So I'll go ahead and give you the stage again, man.
Sounds good.
All right.
Kick off these beaten up boots by the door. Can't wait to lift these old feet off the floor. And put on those records from George Jones to Strait. I've got a drink somewhere calling my name. So I dial up my buddy, says to be there in 20. Back up and cooler with something you like. And I have been loyal to beers on ice. Might even sneak in a glass of wine. But this whole week has been hell, and I can already tell that I'm drinking whiskey tonight. Whiskey tonight. Chasing that sunset, wish this day would end. 'Cause when the night falls, that buzz can kick in. I look around, and it ain't hard to see. There's lots of folks out there, all just like me. Don't mind that burn, or if it goes down real smooth. We know there's something a cold one won't do. And I have been loyal to beers on ice. Might even sneak in a glass of wine. But this whole week has been hell, and I can already tell that I'm drinking whiskey tonight. Whiskey tonight. Whiskey tonight. And I have been loyal to beers on ice. Might even sneak in a glass of wine. But this whole week has been hell, and I can already tell that I'm drinking whiskey tonight. Whiskey tonight. Whiskey tonight. Whiskey tonight. Whiskey tonight. Whiskey tonight.
Love it. I love it, man. I'm going to say it right now. That's my favorite song by you, but I'm sure by the after show, I'm going to have 3 more favorite ones.
Thanks, Steve.
So before we wrap up, we got a couple extra minutes. This year, we've already talked about it's been crazy, but how has it been living in Canada, looking down on what's going on in the US this year? Because one of the greatest things, I actually brought it up today on the phone with your manager today, one of the coolest things I've done all year long, guys, and I'll go on record and admit this, is talking to Jade's manager on election day was probably the best thing, because we just sat back and we laughed about it as much as anybody else probably did in this world, because it's just been so crazy. But like for you, just kind of with COVID and just all those memes going out that you guys are living on top of a meth lab. But for you looking down, I mean, what has it been like, just kind of like for you guys, like living next to America right now?
I mean,
is it kind of embarrassing?
I don't know. I'm very far removed from politics, so I just but you definitely hear a lot of people coming in and be like, "Did you see like the debate and this and that?" I'm just like, "No, I haven't." But I have a lot of friends down there that are saying like, "Man, this is really bad down here. Don't move down here right now."
Yeah,
So,
I'm not political at all. I just kind of sit back and I just kind of laugh at everything that's going on because I feel like it's more of a comedy show this year than it's been anything with everything going on around it. But I really think that it's a year that hopefully we learn from and grow from. But I definitely told my aunt that lives outside of Barrie to keep her couch open because run for the border sooner than later.
I was laughing. I just saw like one of the debates like pop up, and I don't want to disrespect any presidents by any means, but it was it sounded like older men bickering, and it really is. I was like, I'm changing the channel, and I think I put on something else, but
there was a meme going around for the longest time that showed like the opening segment of them too, and they said, "No, this is not a Saturday Night Live skit. This is actually a debate."
I'm so far removed from like what side is doing what, but I just like I caught like a minute of that, and I was like, "Yeah, I've had enough."
Well, Jade, thank you so much for hanging out with us this last hour. I'm gonna go ahead. We're gonna take like a 20-minute break. I'll wrap up with the show. Bring you on back about 8:20 on our after show. If you guys want to get a part of it, I'll tell you here in a minute how to join that. But I went ahead and shared a lot of your links in the chat. I will share them on the show notes. So if you guys are listening back to this on the streaming side, click those links in the show notes. I'm going to add the one for Boomtown as well for you guys to check out that video on YouTube because you've got to check out this video. It's one of the best things ever. Any final words before we let you go, Jade?
I just want to say thanks so much for having me on here, of course, and then for everyone tuning in and stuff. It's this has probably been one of my most favorite interviews to date, so it's been a lot of fun.
Thanks, buddy. Thanks. Well, hey, go ahead, take a quick break. That link I sent you, just click that again around like 8:15ish, and we'll bring you back on, man. We'll talk soon.
Perfect. Sounds good, man.
Hi, dude.
I'll see you.
Guys, that was another amazing show tonight. I had a blast. I hope you guys did too. Just introducing you guys to Jade. I, for one, have been, like I said, Midnight Herd Whiskey tonight. I've been a huge fan just listening to this guy. I'm like, oh, did I screw myself on something that I'm trying to pull up? Okay, there we go. And I've just been a huge fan listening to him. Dig into a lot of his stuff. The song "Close" he wrote for his wife that he met on the music video. I can't get all dumbfounded already. Come get ready for this after show. I'm ready. I'm going to go. But just a lot of cool things that he has done and wrote. And just check this guy out if you guys get a chance. He's one that you guys will be hearing a lot from very soon. I don't think he's going to stay silent for long. So same thing with next week's guest. It's going to be a good one. I cannot wait for next week and bring this guy on. And we're going to have a fun one. So we'll see you guys all next week, same time.
The Gainin Fast on Memphis podcast with Aaron Shriver is brought to you by Arlo Revolution. As we close the book on another chapter, remember, music gives a soul to the universe, wings to the mind, flight to the imagination, and life to everything. Next week, Aaron connects more melodies and memories with other fans and the artists they love. Thanks for being a part of this musical journey, and we'll see you next time on the Gainin Fast on Memphis podcast with Aaron Shriver.